Imagine discovering a place where a single moment made an entire nation cry. A place where the most valuable trophy in football vanished without a trace and was found by a dog. A place where one player scored the most controversial goal in history and then, just minutes later, scored perhaps the greatest goal ever seen. A place where millions celebrated until sunrise. And a place where one of football's greatest legends destroyed his perfect ending with a single decision. These aren't just cities. They're the places where football history changed forever. Because long after the trophies were lifted, long after the stadiums emptied, and long after the players became legends, these cities kept the memories alive. Tonight, we're traveling from the altitude of Mexico City to the heartbreak of Rio de Janeiro, from the mystery of London to the magic of Paris, and finally, to one of the most shocking nights football has ever witnessed in Berlin. Every city on this journey witnessed a moment so powerful that fans still talk about it decades later. Moments that created heroes. Moments that broke hearts. Moments that changed football forever. And trust me, the final city contains a story so unbelievable that if millions hadn't watched it live, nobody would believe it ever happened. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, which World Cup moment do you think changed football forever? Now let's travel to the first city on our list. A city where one man became both football's greatest hero and its greatest villain in the span of 4 minutes. Number 5. Mexico City, football's holy city. June 22, 1986. More than 114,000 fans crammed into the legendary Estadio Azteca. The noise was deafening. The tension was unbearable. And by the end of the afternoon, football history would be changed forever. A moment so controversial that the world gave it a name: the Hand of God. Both moments came from the same man, Diego Armando Maradona. And the stage for both was Mexico City. For 90 unforgettable minutes, the eyes of the world were fixed on this city. Nearly 40 years later, fans are still debating, celebrating, and reliving what happened that day. Because football has many iconic stadiums, many legendary cities, many sacred grounds. This might be it. Welcome to Mexico City, a sprawling metropolis built upon the ruins of the mighty Aztec Empire. A city so massive that it seems to stretch endlessly toward the horizon. A city slowly sinking into the ancient lakebed beneath its streets. And a city that has witnessed football immortality not once, but again and again. From World Cup finals to unforgettable goals, few places on earth have shaped the story of the beautiful game quite like Mexico City. Here, history isn't just remembered. It echoes. Number 4. Rio de Janeiro, the loudest silence in history. For a few seconds, nearly 200,000 people forgot how to make a sound. No cheering. No singing. No celebration. Just silence. An eerie silence hung over the largest football crowd the world had ever seen. A silence so powerful, so unnatural, that witnesses would remember it for the rest of their lives. Then came the realization. The impossible had happened. Brazil had lost. Inside the mighty Maracanazo stadium, an entire nation stood frozen in disbelief. Millions listening on radios across the country could hardly believe what they were hearing. The dream was gone. The party was over. And one of the greatest shocks in football history had just unfolded before their eyes. To this day, many still call it the loudest silence in history. A moment so unforgettable that it earned its own name. The Maracanazo. But to understand why that defeat hurt so deeply, you first have to understand Rio de Janeiro. Because Rio is not just a city. It's a celebration. A place where music pours into the streets. Where golden beaches meet dramatic mountains. Where the rhythm of life seems to move to its own beat. From the towering Christ the Redeemer watching over the city, to the energy of carnival that captivates the world. Few places on earth feel more alive than Rio. And nowhere has embraced football more completely. Here, football is more than a sport. It's identity. It's pride. It's a language spoken by millions. Which is exactly why the heartbreak was so devastating. Because nowhere on earth celebrates victory quite like Rio de Janeiro. And nowhere has ever experienced football heartbreak on a larger scale. Number 3. London, the day the World Cup disappeared. Before England won the World Cup, they almost lost the World Cup. Not a match. Not a player. Not a stadium. The trophy itself. Months before the tournament began, the Jules Rimet trophy vanished. Stolen. Missing. Gone. The most valuable prize in world football had disappeared without a trace. And suddenly, the nation chosen to host the biggest sporting event on earth faced a nightmare. How do you host the World Cup when nobody knows where the World Cup trophy is? Police launched a nationwide search. Investigators followed leads. Reporters chased rumors. Newspapers splashed the story across their front pages. Every day without an answer made the embarrassment even worse. The clock was ticking. The tournament was approaching. And the trophy remained missing. For days, it seemed as if football's greatest treasure had simply vanished into thin air. Imagine the headlines. Imagine the humiliation. What if millions of fans arrived from around the world, only to discover that the host nation had lost the trophy? Then, just when hope seemed to be fading, the breakthrough finally came. Not from a famous detective. Not from an elite investigator. Not from Scotland Yard. But from an unlikely hero taking a walk through a South London neighborhood. His name was Pickles. And he wasn't a detective. He wasn't a police officer. He wasn't even human. He was a dog. And against all odds, he was about to become one of the most unexpected heroes in World Cup history. Number 2. Paris, the night France found glory. Long before Berlin. Long before the headbutt. Long before the most controversial moment of his career. Zinedine Zidane gave France the greatest night it had ever known. July 12, 1998. The eyes of the world turned toward Paris. More than 80,000 fans packed into the Stade de France. Millions more watched from homes, cafes, and city squares across the country. An entire nation held its breath. Because France had never won the FIFA World Cup. Not once. Generation after generation had dreamed about this moment. Now, for the first time in history, the dream stood just 90 minutes away. The pressure was enormous. The expectations were overwhelming. And waiting on the other side was the most feared team on the planet. Brazil. The defending champions. A footballing giant. A team filled with superstars. For France, there would be no easy path to history. The stage was Paris. The stakes could not have been higher. And the man destined to change everything wasn't the loudest player on the pitch. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the most outspoken. Instead, a quiet genius wearing number 10. A player capable of seeing passes before they existed. A player capable of turning pressure into poetry. His name was Zinedine Zidane. And before the night was over, he would give Paris a moment that France would never forget. Through French football history for generations. Number 1. Berlin, the headbutt that shocked the world. The greatest player on the pitch. The captain of his nation. A World Cup winner. A football icon. Playing the final match of his career. Just minutes away from a World Cup penalty shootout. Just minutes away from immortality. The script had already been written. One last performance. One last trophy. One perfect farewell. Then he did something nobody expected. Something so shocking, so unbelievable. Players stopped. Fans stared. Commentators struggled to find the words. Surely that couldn't have happened. But it had. Because on a warm summer night in Berlin, football witnessed one of the most dramatic endings in sporting history. Not because of a winning goal. Not because of a miraculous save. Not because of the trophy that would soon be lifted. The image would be replayed countless times. Debated for years. Remembered by generations. Some saw anger. Others saw provocation. But everyone remembered where they were when it happened. Because football matches end. Champions retire. Records are broken. Night in Berlin became one of those moments. This is the story of Berlin. A city that has witnessed empires rise and fall. A city shaped by some of history's most dramatic events. And on one unforgettable night in 2006. The city where Zinedine Zidane said goodbye. Not with a celebration. Not with a trophy. Football's immortal cities. Long after the confetti falls. Long after the champions lift the trophy. And long after the stadium lights go dark. These cities remain. Silent witnesses to the moments that changed football forever. The miracles. The heartbreak. The controversy. The redemption. The impossible goals. The shocking upsets. The nights that united entire nations. And the moments that left millions speechless. Because football history isn't only written by players. Or coaches. Or trophies. It's written in places. In stadiums. In neighborhoods. In streets. In cities. Cities that became the stage for some of the greatest stories ever told. From the thunderous silence of Rio. To the magic of Mexico City. From the dreams fulfilled in Paris. To the unforgettable farewell in Berlin. Each city gave football a moment that time could never erase. And decades later, we're still talking about them. We're still debating them. We're still reliving them. Because great matches end. Great players retire. But great moments live forever. And sometimes, the place where they happened becomes just as legendary as the moment itself. So now we want to hear from you. Which World Cup city gave us the greatest moment in football history? Was it Rio, Mexico City, Paris, Berlin, or another city that deserves to be remembered? Tell us in the comments below. For more stories from around the world. Because every city has a history. Every street has a memory. And every corner of the world has a story waiting to be told. Until next time. Keep exploring. Keep discovering. And keep seeing the world. Block by block.